Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Last of Us episode review from Apocalypse Movies. My name is Gio. I'll be your host, and I am joined by Mr. Keith Barnes.
Yes.
I just want to apologize in advance, guys. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I may be muting my mic abruptly if I need to cough or whatnot. But I'm here. I'm sticking through it. I promise you, I'm not infected.
You're
Okay,
infected.
it's
Now you're infected.
just a common cold.
Now you're turning.
Okay, so calm down. Don't call Federa to my house.
We're gonna have to
Okay.
put you down. Let's put you down.
Oh no, man! They're gonna do the thing. And it's gonna be like it's not gonna be red or green. It's gonna be yellow. It's gonna be like what? Like, anyways, Keith Barnes, how you doing? Welcome back to the show.
Good. Glad to be back. Talk another very sad episode of Last of Us.
Yeah, and we got an episode early this week.
Yeah.
So here we are, Friday, and even though that's a good thing, that means we have to wait a little bit longer for next week. So whatever. Okay, like I'll take it.
Yeah.
But okay, let's get into this latest episode here. And what was the name of the episode again? It was
Endure
Endure and Survive, a reference to the comic that Sam and Ellie were reading in the show, correct?
Yes.
All right. So the episode starts off. We get a little bit of a flashback to Henry and Sam. They are making their way to safety away from Kathleen.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you call that group? What would you call them? They're the
we
the
see
resistance.
them. There are the resistance, because we see them liberating the city, Kansas City, right? They're killing a bunch of
we
Fedra.
definitely see them.
Yeah.
I mean that looked like a scene out of Zack Snyder's Watchmen. You know, just like it's so graphic.
Yeah, it's just yeah. They're taking out the Fedra agents there and saying F Fedra, Kansas City's free, all that stuff. And so what you get Henry and Sam kind of running away from that, right?
Yeah, and just I could appreciate the the graphic violence of it. They're stripping Federal soldiers of their uniforms, of their weapons, and it's a very violent opening right there. And you can understand why Henry wouldn't want Sam anywhere near that,
Right.
But as we learn later on in the episode, the Fedra of Kansas City wasn't exactly all, stars and stripes. They were abusing.
Yeah.
You heard stories about Fedra, the Kansas City base, all around the country, and so you don't feel sad for them, but you also aren't glad to see it.
It's pretty brutal. And it's one of those things where the people, were pushed to this point.
Yeah.
To where, once they finally revolted, they did it in more than extreme ways.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and Henry and Sam, they make their way through some buildings. They run into the doctor who we saw in the previous episode.
Yep.
That was getting interrogated by Kathleen before Kathleen just put a bullet in him. And what I appreciated was I always love when we get to see events that happen from a previous episode from a different character's point of view.
Yes.
Like watching from Henry's point of view, just the shootout between Joel and the the raiders, the soldiers, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
And when they link up later and they decide to align themselves for a more evil cause, they it makes sense why they would do that. Yeah. So how did you think that whole flashback opening sequence played out, like for you?
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big fan of that as well. Like seeing them tell, we see from multiple points of view too. We see obviously that Dr. Edelstein, I think was his name or something like that. Seeing, what he was doing, what we see, why she was interrogating them, or why she was interrogating him, excuse me. but we see just what he was doing like right prior to that. He found them that hiding space. They had 11 days. They figured they could camp out for 11 days before they
Only a
moved.
limited amount of food too.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And he goes and leaves, which I kind of wondered, like, well, why is he leaving? But I guess he's the doctor there. I don't know.
Well, he wanted to find more food too, you know.
That's yeah, you're right.
And
Right. And I
and
guess
I don't know if I'm Henry, I wouldn't want to leave Sam with
of
the
course.
doctor,
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah.
So, but then yeah, and you get to obviously it kind of coincides with what happened last week. They're waiting for him to come back, and obviously he doesn't. We we know why. So yeah, so that was really good, and like you said, seeing them, they get to the point where they're hungry, they're so hungry, like okay, we got to go. And yeah, they stumbled upon that shootout with Joel and those kind of those resistance guys or whatever. And yeah, it was good. You see the setup of I guess they just followed him. Like you said, he was following him, and he knew that I guess with enough people in a city, he knew the city in and out. Henry, I'm talking about. So he knew that Joel was a new
Yeah.
person,
Mhm.
probably somebody that he could help and could help him. So I like that. He already had that in mind. It's like, hey, I'm here to help you. Once he actually did, confront them while him and Ellie were sleeping. So, but yeah, it was good to see that. I do. I'm a fan of that too. Seeing the storyline kind of come from another angle and right up to the point where we left off last week. That was pretty good. It was very well done.
Okay, so I got to ask you because right off the bat we got a big change with one of the characters.
Yeah.
Sam is deaf.
Deaf. Yeah.
ASL, sign language. How'd you feel about that?
That's great.
Do you feel it took away from his character or added to his character?
Oh, added so much more.
Yeah.
It's always we're seeing that a little bit more in a lot of things. Obviously, with the young actress in A Quiet Place, the older fella in what's the Edgar Wright movie? The last. Oh my gosh.
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver. Yeah. Just off the top of my head, those first ones I think of. This young man here. I mean, it's cool to see. And great performance by the young man too.
Very A Quiet Place.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, Gordon. I'm glad. Gordon Post.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Click it.
Wait. I'm trying to. There we go. Neil Druckmann said he wished he thought of that. Yep, I just watched that too, Gordon. I just saw that too at the end of the episode. Yeah, I think it was brilliant. Very well done. And like I said, a great performance by the young man too. And it's cool that everybody else. Ellie obviously had to learn the actor that played Henry, Lamar. So I get his name, Lamar something that he had to learn. So I think it was really good. That was really, really good. I think it added a lot to his character.
Yeah, it presented a different challenge in the sense of navigating through this world and just how it's all played out. How it just adds character depth, and especially to the relationship between Henry and Sam. And yeah, I thought that was really well done. They even though for you and I who watch the cutscenes or play the video game and kind of know how things play out, still it was it's one of those it's still like it's still very interesting to see,
they're changing stuff enough that you don't kind of know, like they're adapting some stuff, like the sniper thing, but which we'll get to later. But yeah, you're right. It's enough it's interesting to see the changes they make, how they incorporate it into a new story, or just finding new ways to tell the story. So I do think, yeah, that is interesting. But it's cool because, like my daughter pointed out, we were just watching it. We just finished it. It's like, oh, he doesn't know. Like Sam doesn't know that if he's being loud or not. Like when they go in to get Joel and Ellie, like he just walks. He had that broken glass that Joel was sprinkling everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He could hear. And of course, he was sound asleep and didn't hear it. But Sam was kind of just walking on it, and Henry had to step on. He showed him glass, like this glass.
Right.
He doesn't know he's being loud. There's multiple points like that in the episode where, like, when they're kicking the soccer ball around and stuff.
Yeah.
So
no,
that would be a challenge.
Yeah, and it was a welcome addition, like you said. This episode spends a lot of time, naturally so, building the relationship between Henry and Sam and Joel and Ellie, and how
Right.
they, I'll give you an example, like when Henry sees Sam, be a kid and laugh and whatnot. And Henry's like, "Oh, I haven't seen that in a while." Like
Yeah.
and then you see, I think that featurette also touched on it, how you got to see another side of Ellie, her
Hmm.
be a playful kid. And,
Yeah.
hold on, time out. Kenneth Mullins, hello. How you doing? Yes, you're back. I appreciate that. Thank you again for tuning in.
Hello.
We're talking episode 5 here, and how Henry and Sam and Joel and Ellie come to find each other, and it turns out they need each other.
Yeah.
How did that whole relationship play out for you as someone who played the video game?
Oh yeah, it was great. Yeah. That again. That um, a new dynamic to where you got two like people that have kids depend on them. Whereas obviously the two young, they're brothers and they're related.
Yeah, they're not father and son, which they made it clear,
Right.
in a brief dialogue exchange.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all it snapped back into, I remember they're all on the run. It's not just that the whole city's, Kathleen has the whole city looking for Henry and Sam, but they're also looking for Joel and Ellie because of them killing the young guy they got in the shootout with last
Kathleen's
week.
brother, yeah.
Yeah.
Which another addition to the story, right? Kathleen not in the video game, and this
Yeah.
whole add on to there.
Right.
But
She's
yeah,
ruthless.
yeah, no, totally, man. I mean, just and the show tried to get us to sympathize with Kathleen.
Right.
That scene where she's standing in her childhood bedroom, and just looking around and reminiscing about the good old days with her brother. And how
Yeah.
when she was a kid, this used to be the biggest thing in the world.
She
And
was scared of the thunder and lightning, and he would tell her
yeah,
he would keep her, make her feel safe or whatever. So yeah.
right. I'm happy that she wasn't just a straight ruthless evil villain or whatnot. Like the whole revelation between how Sam had to no, not Sam, Henry
Henry.
had to betray Kathleen because
Right.
of Sam and his condition. I believe it's leukemia, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and just that whole, like,
Pedro had the medicine.
Fedra had the medicine, and they said, "You want something this pricey? You're gonna have to give us something so good," and,
Well,
he did.
and apparently Kathleen's brother, they said, was a great man, as he said, a really good person. Um,
Yeah.
just like an honorable person, and we get
Well, he
that
was
as
the
well.
leader, right? He was
He
the
was
leader.
leader of that resistance, but he seemed to be a good person. Even the way Kathleen described him, like even when he was in jail, in federal jail, like he told her forgive him, not to go after Henry, to forgive him. Obviously, he had a reason for doing what he did. And he knew what it was, and it seems like I guess Michael was his name. It seemed like he understood it. You know, he
Yeah,
was killed.
repeatedly telling Kathleen, "Forgive him,"
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
Well, at the time, he's like, "I'm not dead," like,
Right,
I'm behind bars, but we're saving a kid's life.
right.
But as these shows and movies tend to do, you can't be all sympathetic with Kathleen. She is bad.
Right.
She is actually evil. That
Yeah.
I go back to that opening scene that we talked about, where Kathleen is talking to a
Oh,
group of individuals who were like rats, right? They were informants,
what do they call them? Collaborators or
collaborators.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and boom, shoot, kill all of you.
Right.
Like you gave me a little bit of information, and like, but to her right hand man's point, the guy who voiced Joel in the video game,
Perry,
Bear
what's his
Beard.
name? Yeah,
What's his name?
Perry.
Perry.
Yeah, they called him that.
You know, to his point,
Oh, he voices Tommy. He voices Tommy in the game.
Tommy.
Yeah,
Okay, but to his point, she was actually moving things. She was being the difference maker. She was making change.
yeah,
It may not have been the way that you want to do those things,
right.
but when it comes to infected and Fedra and all that, push comes to shove, you
Yeah,
know, and people just responded to that. So, you know, there's something to be said. You know, there's a method to her madness, and she is mad.
yeah, yeah. You could make a case, and for that case, and I mean, Kansas City was free, but I mean, was it? You know, because she seemed to be ruling with an iron fist, um, in that city. Her and her militia there were pretty heavy handed with their rule. I mean, they
And
forced
as
out.
we learn later, it was a time bomb. Kansas City was a time bomb.
Right.
Literally,
Exactly.
all it took was one explosion
Yeah.
for all that stuff to happen, which we will get to because that's oh my god, wow. I
Yeah.
mean, those of us who were complaining about, you know, "Oh, there aren't as many as there aren't that many infected, there aren't that many, you know, clickers or whatnot. Well,
Runners.
we we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the show once again, like it moves the setting from Kansas City to like an underground tunnel, and you get to see like a little bunker room area
Yeah.
where there were people who chose to live underneath those tunnels,
Right.
and you know, during the early days of the outbreak. And you know, you see these drawings on the wall, you
Little
see like a little
little classroom.
soccer goal net, you know,
Yeah.
done like little crowns and comics and whatnot.
Yep. They find comic books. That's it. That's in the game. Yeah.
And it makes sense for the show to spend time there, you know, because you gotta wait for the sunset. So you get more of Ellie and Sam, you know, just being kids, taking advantage of the opportunity to be to act their age, you know, and
Right.
not be pointing a gun at someone or outrunning an infected or
Right.
seeing the worst side of humanity and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it also allows Joel to further open up more to where at
Mm.
the end he's like, if you guys want to come with us to Wyoming, you know, we can be allies, you
Yeah.
know. And of course we'll get to what happens there. But did you feel that same way with the opportunities to, you know, build on their relationships?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. That's where. Well, that's where we get where Henry kind of reveals, you know, what actually happened and stuff with his brother and the leukemia and the medicine, Fedra. Yeah. Same. Kenneth moments. He really enjoyed this episode. Yeah. Absolutely. I've enjoyed all of them. All these 5 for 5 so far. So, um,
Yeah.
but uh, but yeah. He kind of reveals the truth. It's one of those things where he says he killed a man, but I mean he didn't. But he kind of did, you know. Like, I mean, he was locked up,
His
but
actions led to a man's
led
death.
to his death, and you know, because
Yeah.
Fedra's they're evil as well. So you know
Right.
they, but they're fascist rule. Uh, but yeah. So I think, and even though Joel at that moment, you know, you could, it's another one of those moments where, uh, you know, like he spoke with Ellie a couple episodes back, where he's like, let's not get into our backgrounds or our histories or whatever. Let's keep to ourselves. But more and more of that each episode has found points where that stuff kind of comes out, or he kind of sort of softens a little bit. Um, but yeah. You know, you're right. But I do like seeing that the wall kind of sort of come down a little bit. But then it seems like every time we get there, something happens where that gets shattered, and he kind of has to get that, you know, he's got to kind of go back to where he was. You know,
Right.
he keeps losing it. He's trying to protect people, and then he keeps losing them. You know, and so I can see why a man like him would have his heart hardened, you know, and not want to make too many attachments, because you know he's lost his, obviously his daughter. He's looking for his brother. He lost Tess, lost Bill and Frank. Befriended these two kids, now you know
And
lost them. It's just
he's
goodness.
reminded of that
every time it happens.
At the tail end of the episode.
Yeah.
The two words that are written on that "I'm sorry," which
Right.
we'll get to that, but
Right. Right.
to capitalize on your point there. So they devise a plan, the whole time, and I'm kind of going back a little bit. They devise a plan, get out of
Right.
the city. You know the city. I can show you the way. You clear the way. I like that.
Right.
And they make it out on the other side. They're in a residential area. All
Well,
seems well.
well, he does
What's up?
reveal. Well, when they're coming up the plan, Henry reveals that Fedra rumored, I guess, or he was told that Fedra sent all their infected underground,
Right.
which we got a hint of that last week. One of the buildings that Kathleen.
The underneath the building, the
Yeah.
ground started coming up a little bit.
Right. It looked like it was caved in a little. We could kind of hear them down there, but they're like, all right,
What was Kathleen's plan? Like,
well, she said seal the building, and Perry was like, we should tell the others, like we should do something about this. And she's so consumed by trying to find Henry that she ignored that, She was like, well, we'll deal with it later, So
nah,
right.
Man, I mean, like, hindsight, where we the viewers are like, no, that's stupid, but
I know
that was ultimately her downfall.
exactly
So,
exactly right. Just saying,
yeah.
So we get he hears he says, like, he's like, some guy told him that they're gone though, right? Like, so he's like just some Fedra guy.
Yeah, there's maybe one or two left.
Right.
Did you buy that?
No, of course not. Of
Okay.
course not. I figured
obviously the promo showed the bloater coming out of of the ground. So,
right.
But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I know.
Yeah. So they get not ambushed. They're taking fire from a sniper with horrible name.
Yes.
I mean, my God. Like,
well,
and Joel decides to circle around like in the video game, right?
mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure I remember that. Again, I've only seen the cutscenes once, but takes the guy out, doesn't show it, but cuts just before that, and coast is clear. Wait, no, it's not. Here they come, Kathleen and company.
We hear them on the guy had a radio. And had already radioed in their position.
That's a shitty detail. I would not want to be one guy in that house. Just
at the end of the
at the tail end. I don't know what's out there and whatnot.
Well,
you better give me some like Call of Duty claymores or something to plant, outside or something. Like,
definitely, that, or give me two more guys at least.
Give me two more guys or something, not one guy out there. Hell no. And then Kathleen finds Henry and Sam.
Yeah.
Henry tries to reason with Kathleen, and just before she pulls the trigger,
and he's going to sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
So they can go.
That car, all of a sudden, something's pulling that car into the ground. An explosion happens, and then my God, it's like World War Z, Dawn of the Dead. Just they all come out there, and it just turns into like a war zone, with infected. You get a big boy, a bloater coming up.
Big one,
Big boy, yeah. And Kenneth Mullen here, that bloater, man, nothing to, man. I mean, not even a sawed-off shotgun would probably take that boy down. Yeah, some heavy armor, man. And that after show touched on it, how they brought in some stuntmen who did the Apes movies. How they were crawling out and took a boot camp and stuff like that to get all these extras. And you see it when you see them come out and they're on all fours and they're jumping and running and sprinting and crawling
just everywhere.
Everywhere, man.
And they brought a big chunk of their army with them, literally just hunting down these kids. But there was just no match for, even with all their weapons, there was no match for all those infected.
They were just overwhelmed, man. And you want to talk about like You know how when you watch a Tarantino movie and it's a lot of dialogue for most of the movie, and then you get that bloody shootout violence.
Yeah,
Like that's pretty much what happened
that's
with The
what.
Last of
Yeah,
Us. It just
yeah,
boom,
right.
everything, man. Kathleen's right hand man tries to put up a fight against a bloater, does not go well. Like I don't see what happened, but I imagine in the background he
Tore his
gets
head
ripped
off.
apart. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what they
tore
do.
his
That's
head off.
straight out of the game. Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, Joel is doing his best to
To
try and
snipe.
provide cover.
Yeah, he's trying to.
Sniper,
Yeah,
yeah,
trying to
that was
protect Ellie, which is pretty good. And the two kids, they kind of ran off. They get separated, right? They say Henry and Sam get.
yeah, they get separated. They go underneath the car.
Ellie goes to hide in
Ellie
a
goes
van.
into a van.
Yeah,
A clicker
a
goes
child.
into the van. Yeah, and tries. Oh, dude,
Yeah.
that was about as an intense 10-minute sequence as I've
Yes.
seen in
Yes.
all this episode right here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Beautifully played out, man.
Hmm.
Just, I mean, like violent, terrifying, but just beautiful, if that makes sense. And yeah, they managed to escape, not before Kathleen holds them at gunpoint,
Still,
and
Kathleen
yeah,
still won't let it go. This the
doesn't
whole
even care
under
about
siege.
what's behind her,
Right.
and then the child clicker,
That
yeah,
was trying to get
and
Ellie. Yeah.
yep,
Get
ends
the.
her.
Yeah.
They escape. They're in a motel. We think everything is well. Well, those of us who haven't played the video game and haven't watched the cutscenes think everything is well, right? We're like, hey, they escaped. Joel's like, come with us to Wyoming. Great. All right. Now their click has doubled. And then we see Sam and Ellie sitting in the hotel room. Henry comes in,
Read.
says it's bedtime, closes the door. I'm like, Henry, don't close that door. Don't close
Yeah.
the door. Like, even though it's not going to stop what happens, just don't close the door.
Right.
And a little bit of a change here because in the game, actually, I'll before I continue, here's Kenneth's question right here. Keith, did Joel and Henry already know Sam got bitten before Ellie?
I don't think they did.
No.
I don't think they did. Otherwise, they wouldn't. Certainly wouldn't have left them, the two of them, in the room alone.
No. No, they didn't know. And again, I've only seen it once, but that sequence stood out so much to me.
Right.
And
Well,
yeah,
you
in the
think they
video game,
they would have checked for that because they were both. We saw them getting attacked by several of them.
right.
They were hiding underneath the car. So you think that that's the first thing they would have checked. As soon as they, especially with what happened with Tess. Earlier. Anytime you get an encounter with any infected, if you get away, you got to be checking everywhere, make sure. All right, did one of them
Right.
hit me? No. All right. You think they would have? They would have known that. But I guess it wouldn't have mattered. But
And slight change. Sam ends up telling Ellie that he did get bitten because Ellie didn't know. Ellie didn't know in the video game.
Yeah.
And the way Sam tells her, if I turn into a monster, am I still me
Which made me so sad.
inside?
Yeah. I was like, oh.
And then Ellie's like, what? And then he lifts his ankle. Boom.
Right.
There's the bite mark right there. And another change that didn't happen in the video game. Ellie cuts her hand,
Right.
says her blood is the medicine,
Right.
and tries to, like, I guess, clean out the wound with her
Tries to
blood.
tries to get his blood in there, I guess.
Yeah.
Which
Oh, man. And then,
it wasn't going to work, but
yeah, but still, I mean, like, be honest, that would have been something had I not, known anything about this video game. That would have been something I thought of. Well, just
sure.
give some of your blood. Yeah.
Yeah, if that was real life, yeah, so, I
Yeah.
would have, I've been like, all right, let's, you never,
Yeah.
of course.
But registered nurses and doctors watching this show are like, no, that's not how it works.
That's not how it works. Yeah.
Yes, we know. Yes. Can we just let it happen, please?
Yeah.
And yeah, Sam is scared and asking Ellie to
Stay awake.
stay up, please.
With him.
Like,
Yeah,
with him. And I'm scared. Ellie says, yeah, I promise, right?
they hug.
She
Very
falls
sweet.
asleep. wakes up. Sam is just sitting up, looking at the window. She decides to check
Hey,
on
she
him,
says,
like,
"Hey."
ah.
I think maybe she says, "Hey," and then
Hmm.
I think she remembers. Well, he's deaf. He's not going to hear her. So, yeah, she goes tap him on the shoulder, and then just because if you go back to the beginning, we saw that chart shows the time depending on where you get bitten,
Yeah,
and
that's
what
right.
12 to 15 hours or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but or a day. I can't remember what it was. When you get bitten on the leg, it's not that long. It was like 10, 12 hours. I can't remember what it was, but certainly whatever it was enough time for him to fully turn into what he turned into. So
Yeah. And then yeah, it just everything happens so fast,
right,
They break through the door, Sam's
he's
attacking Ellie.
fully attacking her. Yeah,
Henry grabs the gun from Joel, pleading with him, and Henry doesn't think, just
just
puts one in
shoots.
Sam's head.
Yeah,
Dude. And then he's he's lost it at that point, man. He's just out of it. Yeah.
you just what the way he just reacted because this this was your brother, and he's attacking Ellie, and just Joel kind of steps toward them like he's gonna go help, and then he points the gun at Joel like no. So
Yeah,
you think
fires
like
one at his feet, yeah.
yeah, that's right, yeah. And you just like you said, it all happens so fast where you just that's great. Again, the performance is spectacular because you just no time to even think about what just happened, what's going on, you know.
Right.
And like you said, he just automatically shoots as if that wasn't his brother. It's almost as if, oh no, that's one of the ones from last night that you followed us, and then I wonder if again, great
And then that
performance.
realization,
Oh, this was Sam.
it's like, wait a minute, what did I do?
What did
What,
I do? Yeah,
Sam? He's like, oh my god, and it's
right.
just incredible acting, man.
Yes,
Like, yeah,
and it's
for
just so tragic and just
uh-huh.
oh
And then he puts one in his head, and
that
yeah,
actually I didn't expect. Maybe I should have. I don't know, but I was just like, oh man, yeah, that was
yeah,
brutal.
and, yeah. And then Joel and Ellie, they bury them. Ellie leaves a note on
That
that toy. Remember that thing where you'd write on and then you could just
cool
lift it, and
magnetic, yeah, yeah,
magnetic yeah,
it-
pad
right,
says I'm sorry.
yeah,
And then at that point she's not trying to hang around there. She is like, which way's west?
yeah.
Let's
Well,
go.
they're devastated,
Yeah.
and I think for her, just this thing happening again. Um, she was just befriending this kid, and you saw a great performance for her. Just her, she's tears in her eyes right after it happened, and just uh, they don't want to wallow in it. You know what? She's just like that. Let's just get out of here. Let's go. You know. Um, and again, like you said, everything that reminder of everything that's just happened to Joel. It's a great shot. Kind of him sort of reflecting, looking at these graves that he's digging. Uh, and it's just another reminder. Just like this is why he doesn't want to get close to anyone. You know, going all the way back to his daughter, and then of course Tess.
Yeah.
Man, what a world this is.
Yep.
Goodness.
Man. And what an episode, man. Any
Yeah.
final thoughts?
No, just it was excellent. It had everything. It was seemed hopeful. You kind of knew it was dreadful. Also, you knew it was coming, but played out very well. Great performances by everyone in it. Uh, it had the action, had a little bit of hope, it had some humor, had some light moments, and of course the tragedy at the end. And yeah, just got to keep moving. So but very good, very good, very good. Like I said, they're 5 for 5 so far, so I loved it.
Yeah. So far there hasn't been one addition that wasn't in the video game that I haven't not
Yeah,
liked.
yeah.
They've added some but have never gone overboard.
Right.
to the point where, it detracts most of the fans. You're not going to please everyone.
Right.
Kathleen, she was cuckoo crazy, but you
Yeah.
know what? You understood her motivations. Um, for those of us who, were critical, like there aren't enough infected, oh yeah, we got plenty, and there's more on the way. There's definitely more on the way. And if anything, Sam and Ellie walk out of this episode changed,
Yeah.
shook, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested to see where they go in next. Now we have to wait 10 days for the next
Ah,
episode.
all the way to the 19th. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
nine days. Yeah, so a little bit of a wait, maybe an opportunity to go and rewatch some episodes. And before we go, we have a question here from Kenneth Mullen. The bloaters are the ones who has been turned for a long time, right? I was explaining this to my wife.
Yes.
Are they? Yeah, they're the ones
Yes.
who've been around for a while.
For like
They
years.
obviously,
That's so much because my daughter said the same thing. She asked, or I was asking her about it. She said, "Yeah." I was like, "How did they get?" She's like, "Yeah, those are the ones that have been turned for like 5, 6, 7 years. They just get like that over time. That's what they
they've
turn
been
into."
eating and packing on the weight, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're eating good. Jeez.
They're like Thing, Fantastic Four, man. They're like basically.
Yeah, they're unstoppable. I mean, I don't know how you're gonna kill something like that. I mean, sawed off shotgun, maybe
You gotta blow them up. No, there's one
grenade
mission.
launcher.
It's sort of, yeah, it's sort of like that. Yeah.
Grenade launcher. Yeah, blow them up, something like that. Just a
But in the
C4.
game, if they get you, you can't get away. You're dead. They
Yeah,
kill you. So
yeah. So insane, man. Oof. And an insane episode. Insanely great. That's gonna do it for the Last of Us review, episode 5. Keith and Geo here. Thank you so
yes.
much for tuning in, and be sure to catch us next Sunday for episode 6. And the journey continues. We appreciate you guys' support. We love you guys. Have an amazing weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you're watching.
Mhm.
And until next time, you guys take care.